And my husband, who asked me for a love test, asked me to give my land to his 80-year-old grandmother. Well, I lost my parents in a car accident and inherited a very large land with a house. 3 years after what happened, I met my husband and I ended up falling in love with him and creating a very strong emotional dependence. As time went by, this man started going out with his friends. He didn't tell me where he was, and then he came back as if nothing had happened. When I took him to see my land, he was delighted. He was very interested in my land and asked me why I didn't sell a good part of the land and used the money to open a business because the money wouldn't stay still. And I said no, that I would never sell my parents' land because it was a memory I had of them. He laughed at my face and said it was nonsense. After he went home, he started to insist a lot for me to invite his father to visit my house. This man's behavior had already changed. Now he was a romantic man. He used to give me flowers, presents. He called me all the time, and I was completely in love with him. I invited his parents to lunch at my house, and his father was very interested. He even asked me if I intended to sell that land, and I said no. Guys, now who was even more interested in my land was his grandmother, more than my boyfriend and his father. All the time, she said how happy she would be with that land, that it was her dream to have a land like mine. Over time, all the family reunions of my boyfriend were held at my house, and I felt part of that family. I thought I was being well received by everyone there. When this man said he would marry me, his whole family was very happy. We got married, and after that, he always asked me why I didn't sell half of my land, and I always said I wasn't going to sell it. When his grandmother got sick, he and his family started to insist a lot for me to transfer the land to her name because it was her dream and she was hospitalized, and all the time she asked someone to call me and asked me to transfer the land to her name. And I went to visit her and she even cried, asking me to transfer the blessed land to her name because it was her dream to have a land like mine. At the time, as I was 4 months pregnant, the whole family took advantage that I was in a very sensitive moment and kept calling me saying that I was bad, that I should transfer the land to her name since it was her last wish in life, that it didn't cost anything, that later they would transfer it to my name again. Guys, and my land, it was right in the center of the city, and it was worth a lot of money, but I never wanted to sell it. And his grandmother got worse, and my husband said that if I didn't transfer the land to her name, that he would leave me with my son. I, very emotionally dependent, was desperate for fear of him leaving me. But even so, I wasn't that stupid. I looked for a lawyer, and he advised me to make a document for his grandmother where it was her right to only live in the house, where she couldn't sell or touch anything in the house. And so I did. I didn't tell anyone about it and just asked for her documents saying that it was to transfer the land to her name. Wow, it was horrible.